Hello everyone and welcome back to the screencast series of Quick Start Guide for Asset Administration Shell. In this video, we are focusing on how to develop an asset administration shell as a data provider. In the last video, we have focused on the first two steps, that is nothing but to choose an asset and second to choose a use case. For the screencast series, we have taken the example of a car as an asset and digital nameplate as use case. In the last video, we also started with the tool called AASX Package Explorer. And in this video, we are going to focus on how to model a shell for the car and a digital nameplate with, with the help of this tool called Package Explorer. Now for this, I have already opened up the Package Explorer and the submodel template that we downloaded. That is nothing but the digital nameplate. Now, before we start with the actual modeling, let's first save this file with our own name. So I'm saving this as my car AAS and in the same format that is ASX. Let's save this. And now we can see that the tree-like structure of the digital nameplate is available here, but I cannot I cannot edit the fields here. I can read them, but not edit them. For this, we need to bring or we need to change the mode of the Package Explorer to the edit mode. For this, let's click on Workspace and let's click on Edit. Now we can see that the fields are now editable. Now let's first start with editing the asset administration shell. When I click on the AAS digital nameplate here in the middle panel, on the right hand side, the form-like structure of this element opens up. Let's first start with changing the short name of the asset administration shell, that is nothing but the ID short. So let's change it to my car AAS. Additionally, I can add a display name to this shell. It's a multi-language property. I'm uh, making the display name in English as same as the ID short here. Similarly, I can add the description, which is again a multi-language property. Let's say this is a digital twin for my car. Now, let's move on to the important field of the shell that is nothing but the identifier. In the world of asset administration shell, these identifiers need to be unique and unambiguous. For this, let's change this identifier to our custom identifier. So let's click on generate here. It generates some random identifier. And here, for example, I'm just going to change this example.com to idtwin.org here. Uh, and then to save these changes, I'm going to click on Take Over Changes. Now, similarly, um, let's edit this asset information field here. Similar to the identifier, we have global asset ID. Let's click on Generate and let's change this example.com to idtwin.org and let's click on Take Over Changes. Now, in the last video, we have talked about this pictorial representation of the asset administration shell. Um, Now here, in this pictorial representation, as well as in the meta model of the asset administration shell, it is possible to add the picture of our asset, the miniature thumbnail of an asset. So let's see how we can add the thumbnail here. For this, I'm going to click on the supplemental files. Now on the right hand side, the form opens up. Let's select on the source path, and here I have a JPG file for the image of a car. Let's open it. The target file name and target path gets filled up automatically. And here there is a checkbox called embed as a thumbnail. If I select this, the image gets added as a thumbnail. So let's click on add file to package. But if I look at the thumbnail here, we can see it is still in the pending status. So to save it, um, let's click on File and Save. And let's come out of the edit mode. And we can see that the thumbnail, the picture of our car gets added to this pictorial representation as well as to the meta model structure of the asset administration shell. Now, let's go again in the edit mode and let's start modeling the submodel digital nameplate. Now, you might have already noticed the small t here that represents that it is still in the template form. So we have downloaded the file as a template and hence it is a template. But now that we are modeling the asset administration shell, we don't need it as a template anymore. So on the right hand side here, if I scroll down, I can see the kind of a model field or kind here. So I can change it to instance here, that it is not a template anymore. Okay, so the instance has been changed. Now scroll up a little bit. The ID short or the name of the submodel still fits to my definition. It is still a digital nameplate. The description suits it again. Now let's come to the identifier again. Now similar to the shell or asset ID, we need to change or make this identifier unique. Now this time we are going to click on rename instead of generate. And here I'm going to edit the identifier. So let's say idtwin.org and rest of the things are fine for now. Let's click on OK. And as we can see, the identifier of the digital nameplate has been changed. So this was about the digital nameplate. Now let's go inside the tree structure of or different properties or fields of this digital nameplate. Now, as we can see, there are a lot of information here. For example, the URI of the product, manufacturer name, order code of the manufacturer name, and so on. Now, all of these fields are not mandatory for this template. Some of them are optional as well. So let's first see what are optional and what are mandatory or how to identify them. So there are two ways to identify the optional and the mandatory fields here. So one is nothing but from the specification of the nameplate. So as we can see, we are here in the specification of the PDF document. And if we have a look into the nameplate table, we can see that there is a list of properties here, the description of these properties, and then there in the end on the right hand side, there is a field or column called cardinality. So this cardinality basically tells me which of the fields are mandatory and which of them are optional. For example, the URI of the product here, it says 1, that means it is mandatory. If I scroll down, manufacturer product root, here it says the cardinality is 0 to 1, that means it is an optional field, so on and so forth. So I can read the table and I can basically omit the optional fields if required. The other way to identify the cardinality or to identify the optional fields is nothing but the qualifiers in the template. So for example, if I select the URI of the product, here I can see there is a qualifiable field and a qualifier for the type multiplicity is defined. And in the value field, I can see there is 1, that means it is mandatory field. And let's have a look at the manufacturer product root property. And here I can see the value is 0 to 1, that means it is optional field. Now, how to edit these fields? So first of all, let's see how to change the values and then let's see how to basically omit the optional fields. So let's start with editing of the values. So let's start with the first ever mandatory property, that is nothing but the URI of the product. So I have selected this URI of the product field, and here on the right hand side, there are different information here, and in the end, I can see the value here. So this field I can basically change to my use case or to my product. So here I'm just changing this to idtwin.org, and the model number I'm keeping it 123, serial number 5678. Let's take over the changes. Similarly, I can actually change the manufacturer name. It is again a multi-language property. So let's say in German it is editea.a5, and here I can add one more language if necessary. Let's say in English, editea or IDTA, and take over changes. Similarly, we can edit all the fields that we need. Now let's focus on how to omit the fields that are optional and I want to fill out the information for them. So here, as we can see, the manufacturer product root is nothing but optional field here. To omit this field, I can basically select this field. I can, on the right hand side on the top in front of the submodel element, there is an option called delete, and I can click on it and say yes. So as we can see, the field manufacturer product root has gone from the structure. Similarly, let's fill out all the information for the car in the digital nameplate. Yes. So now I have modeled the whole digital nameplate. I have removed the optional fields that I didn't require, and I have kept the information or the fields that are needed to model my digital nameplate for the car. Uh, Now, one more functionality of the Package Explorer is to nothing but to add the supplementary files in the AASX package. For example, the company logo is nothing but of type file. Now, let's see how to add uh, an external file to this package here, or how to add a company logo here. Now for this, we are again going to take help of the supplemental files field here. Let's click on it. And here, again, we are on the right-hand side panel. Let's click on the select next to source path. And I have the company logo for IDTA. Let's select this. Again, the target file name gets selected, the path gets already filled out. And here in the target path, I'm just going to add slash files here. This is the recommended target path for the package file format. Now, as this is not the embedded file or a thumbnail anymore, let's untick the embed as thumbnail and let's click on add file to package. Now, similar to the thumbnail, the file gets added, but still it is in the pending status. To add it to the package, let's just save the file and it gets added. Now, to refer this particular supplementary file, as a company logo field here, let's click on the company logo. On the right hand side, let's scroll down and here we can see file and then the field called value here. So here let's click on choose supplemental file as we have already added it, and then select the file of logo. Once we select it, it's get added, and here we can actually change the content type. So here the content type for us is JPEG, and we can then save the file. If we double click on the file, I can actually see the logo or the supplemental file that I have just added. So this was all about the modeling of the digital nameplate. Now in the last video where we installed the Package Explorer, we also talked about the plugins. As we can see here under this digital nameplate here, the DN2 digital nameplate field is available. So this is nothing but the plugin of the Package Explorer. Once we have filled all the information, let's just double click on the digital nameplate, and on the right hand side it opens up the pictorial representation of the nameplate. As we can see, it is similar to the physical nameplate that we normally see attached to the physical asset. Here, I haven't filled much information, that's why it looks a bit empty. But as we can see here, this is the manufacturer name, this is the company logo, this is the QR code of the asset based on the asset identifier, the year of construction, and so on. And here, if we scroll down, we can actually see the corresponding description of all these fields here. Uh, yes, so this was all about the plugin. So in this video, we have already seen how to model the asset administration shell considering the digital nameplate as use case for a car. Now, in the next video, we will be focusing on validating this asset administration shell. So this step nothing but confirms if the modeled asset administration shell is conformant to the specifications of IDT or specifications of asset administration shell. So if you're interested in validation part, let's meet us again in the next video. Thank you.